Hey class, we're starting our new notes for this unit. So we just took our test on circles, and now we're going to continue with area, but of different kinds of shapes. So you all should be getting this, I believe, on the 20th. Yeah, 420, haha. Okay, and this is going to be 10.1. It's the area of parallelograms and triangles. Both are shapes that we are very familiar with. Okay, and you might already know, you probably do already know these formulas, but so this will just be easy for you. Okay, so parallelogram, just to refresh, is a four-sided figure. And it can just look like that, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then a triangle is a three-sided figure. We know this. We've done extensive work with both of these, three-sided figure. With both of these shapes. Okay, so that's just a review. We know what these things are. Let's go ahead and start with a parallelogram. I'm just going to jump right into example 1. Okay, we're going to be trying to find the perimeter and area of these different shapes. So first, let's go ahead and make our parallelogram here. Something I forgot to mention in a parallelogram is that these sides are both parallel and congruent. Remember that? So the left and right sides are parallel and congruent, and the top and bottom sides are parallel and congruent. So let's say we have A, B, C, D. AD, I think I did this wrong, but it's okay. DC is 10 inches, and BC is 4 inches. And the height here, okay, there's the height, the actual height, it's 3.5 inches. Remember, the height is directly from one of the highest points down to the bottom, like a straight line to the bottom. So, like I said, we want to find two things, the perimeter and the area of this shape. Alright, so to find the perimeter, what we have to do is add all the sides together. So we have 4 plus 10 plus, over here, since these are congruent, that's 4, and this is 10. So plus 4 plus 10. That would be 20 plus 8, which is 28 inches. And for the area, okay, this is important. The formula for the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So highlight that, put a box around that. That will be important for a parallelogram. So we have area, the base is just the bottom length, which is 10, times the height, which is 3.5. Don't multiply it by the 4, always multiply it by the height. And 10 times 3.5 is 35 inches squared. And that's all we're doing. That is all we are doing. I would do another example with you guys, but I mean, you kind of know what to do. So just multiply it by the base and the height. I think the hardest part here is going to be identifying what is the base, what is the height. But remember, the height is always from the bottom up, and it usually has a dotted line. That's a hint. The height usually has the dotted line. And the base, it doesn't mean it has to be on the bottom. It can be on the top, but it's just like the full length of one of the bottom sides. All right. So let's just move on to example 2. Example 2, this time, we're going to find the area and perimeter of a triangle. And here's our triangle this time. All right, here's our triangle. This side is 15 feet. This side is 7 feet. This side is 23 feet. And then the height is 9 feet. Okay, we have to find the perimeter and the area. All right, so perimeter, all we do is add all the sides together. We have 23 plus 7 plus 15. And that equals 45 feet. Easy enough. Then the formula for area of a triangle is half base times height. So it's the exact same thing as the other one, except it's half of this, because a triangle is half of a quadrilateral. Okay, make sure we pick out the right numbers here. Half base times height, the base. Okay, the base. This time the base is 7, because that is the bottom of the triangle. This time it does matter what you pick, so make sure you pick the bottom that it's sitting on. And the height is 9. Okay, the height is 9. Half of 7 times 9 is approximately 31.5 feet squared. All right, so there is the perimeter and area of a triangle. Now, okay, question. What if, this is not an example, this is just a question. Okay, what if we had something like this? Okay, well, let me redraw it. Something like what we just did up here. Okay, and it said this is whatever 6 and this is 12, doesn't really matter. And this is 3 and 4. Okay, how would we find this line right here to add to get the perimeter? Well, what kind of triangle is this? This is a right triangle. And this 3, 4 is a Pythagorean triple. So you know that this is going to be 5. Okay, there are going to be some examples in the homework where it doesn't give you the hypotenuse of that right triangle, so you have to use your Pythagorean theorem or the Pythagorean triples to find that out. So I'm not going to do an example like that because you guys know how to do that, but just in case that were to come up, which it will, that's how you do that. Okay, I'm just going to do one more example and then we're done. This section's really easy. This is example 3. All right, so example 3, we're given a triangle again, and we have to find the perimeter and area, but we're not given the shape. We are given some points. So we're given P is -1, 3. Q is -3, -1. And R is 4, -1. So, you don't have to draw this out if you don't want to, but I'm going to, because I'll tell you why, okay? I'm going to draw it out and I'll tell you why. I'm going to go to 5 on all sides, just because I like to go one more past what I'm really supposed to. Okay. So, P is -1, +3. So, P is right there. Q is -3, -1. So Q is right there. And R is +4, -1. All right, and here is our triangle. I'll do it in a different color, just so that we can kind of see. Okay. Now, to find the perimeter and area, we have to find the lengths of all of those sides, okay? But how do we do that, okay? If the lines are not straight, like Q to R is just a straight across line or a straight up and down line. If that's not the case, then we have to use the distance formula, okay? The dreaded distance formula. However, we don't have to do it 3 times with this because Q to R is just a straight line, so we can count over the units. That is why I would draw it out. Because, and if you want to do the distance formula, you can, but this, because we drew it out, we can see that this is just a straight line over. And it'll save us from doing the distance formula an extra 3rd time. Now, if you want to go ahead and do the distance formula all 3 times, just to get it over with, that's fine. But I don't like the distance formula, so personally, I would draw it to see if I can save myself any trouble. Because what if it's like a straight line here, and just a line like that? Then you can count over 2 of them, and you only have to do the distance formula once. See what I mean? So let's find out what Q to R is here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so Q to R is 7. So that saves us from doing the distance formula that time. Let's go ahead and find the other ones. So let's start with PQ. I don't know if you guys remember the distance formula, but we're going to write it out here. The distance formula is the square root x squared minus y squared, x2 minus y2 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. Okay, so we have, here I'll just go ahead and label x1, y1, x2, y2, and you just plug them in. So we have square root -3 plus 1, because it's minus a negative, and -1 minus 3 squared. Now, I'm not going to do this full out and show my work, but I encourage you guys to do that. I'm just going to plug it in my calculator, and you get the square root of 20. Okay. Then we have one more. I'm going to do it in green this time. And this is P to R. P and R. All right, so relabel x1, y1, x2, y2. And we have our formula again, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. All right, we have our square root. So x2 is 4 minus x1 is -1, so that's plus 1. And -1 minus 3 again. Okay, again, I'm not going to do that, but in your calculator, you get square root of 41. Okay, so those are all the sides. Let's go ahead and find our perimeter. So I'm going to put perimeter. We would say 7 plus square root of 20 plus square root of 41. And if you do that in your calculator, I want to get a decimal. So my decimal is 17.9 units. That is my perimeter, 17.9 units. Now we need to find the area. This one's even easier, okay? 1/2 base times height. What did we say was QR? We said that was 7. So I'm going to put 7 in there. Now the height, remember, is from the tallest point down to the ground. This is also a straight line, and it's from P down to the middle of QR. And I can just count that again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 times 4. 1/2 7 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28, and half of that is 14. So 14 units squared is the area of the triangle. Okay, so this was super long, but I'm not going to give you much of these, but the reason why I did give you one is because they do pop up on standardized tests like crazy. I have seen stuff like this everywhere. All right, so I wanted you to know how to do it. I know that you can now. I'm only going to give you one in your assignment for tomorrow, but I did want to make sure that you understand how to do it. I probably won't give you one on the test or anything. But now that you're familiar with it, you will be more comfortable on your standardized tests. But really, these are the only two types of problems that you will see, is the area of perimeter and area of this, what's it called? Parallelogram, and area and perimeter of the triangle. All right, so get to work on that for tomorrow, and if you guys have any questions, just let me know.